Okay, so I want to make a video that I think is super serious, and that is nuclear radiation is causing all the deserts on planet Earth. Now, they say that the Native Americans got their land burnt down when the British came, but I think that's a complete lie. I don't even think the British would do that. But even if they did, I don't think the trees could have burned that good. There's been a lot of occasions where kids try to start fires in the woods and it never catches anything. Um, Trees are full of water, so it's very difficult to do that. Instead, I believe it was nuclear radiation that caused the desert. And that means this was all recent. And that's why there's photos of trees, let's say near Lake Mead. There were ton and tons of trees, and there's photos of it. But now when you look at it on Google Maps, it's completely dead. It's completely dead over here. Well, if you look over where they did the nuclear test sites, right over near Vegas here, up right here, they did about what? I'd say that's about 50 at least, about 50 nuclear tests. And right here was the largest one. It was just a little bit bigger than the others. See how this one's really small. They had really, really small ones that might just blow up one house. There's nukes that could just blow up one house, and then there's nukes that could blow up one city block. They're pretty precise with the nukes. It's crazy how it works. When atoms split, they blow stuff up. And right here, it looks like this was actually an actual city. This looks like it was at an actual city, and it looks like this wasn't even a test. It almost looks like it was a Chinese invasion. It almost seems like China did this all. Regardless of exactly what happened or whatever, I want to talk about how now some people in Vegas that test with their nuclear radiation meters have found that there is nuclear radiation in Vegas. So if you just walk through Vegas, you're more at risk. You're more likely to get radiated by the nuclear radiation. So I believe that could be what caused the desert. It spreads far and wide, and once it kills all the trees and once it turns everything to desert, the land is really dry. And when the land is dry, it sucks in the water more. And then things like this used to be a lake, Yucca Lake. Yucca Lake dry up. Yucca Lake dries up because the land is so dry. That's how it works. So basically, think of it like this. All this sand right here, it's probably like 30, 40, 50 feet deep worth of sand. There's a ton of sand right here. All this sand sucks in the water, and little by little the water comes through, and there's nothing left. So, all these were lakes, and the nuclear radiation is killing all of the trees and all of the grass, and then it kills the algae. It kills the plants. It kills the animals, and then that means all the plants, they produce poop. I mean, all the animals produce poop. The fish, the frogs produce poop. The poop turns into clay. The clay keeps the water in, and it stops it from draining into the land. The plants and the algae, that actually stops the sun from evaporating the water as fast. So because the sunlight has to go through thick, dark plants to get to the water, For example, sometimes algae floats to the top, and when it does that, it could completely cover the entire lake. And that would make it a darker lake, so that way the water doesn't get sucked up as much. Now, normally lakes don't do that. Normally the algae's at the bottom, but it still stops a lot of sunlight and stops a lot of evaporation. So, here's a giant lake. This was the Great Lake at one time. This was actually the Great Salt Lake, and it's rumored to have whales in it. There's allegedly whales in this lake. And now that it's so small, that if there really are whales here, they're suffering. They are suffering here. That's wrong. So now notice how far the desert's gone. It's gone all the way to Ohio, practically. Now, I don't know, actually, that might be actually because it's harvest season, actually. I don't know. It might stop, let's see, it stops probably about Oklahoma. It goes up to Wyoming, maybe. Let's see. Yeah, that looks like desert to me. Matter of fact, I think it goes all the way up to Canada, but I can't tell. Yeah, it does. It goes all the way up to Canada. But it's not as bad up here. Notice how there's still some grass alive? See that? So there's still hope we can fix things. Now I want to talk about how we could stop the nuclear radiation. How we could fix the planet slowly but surely. And that is, first off, we need to dig up these holes. All the dirt around it has to be dug up. We need to dig a big, giant, massive hole in the Yucca Lake and dump it on the Yucca Lake and then cover it up. Actually, I don't wait. Does the Yucca Lake have runoff? If this lake has runoff, then that wouldn't be a great spot for it. But it'd probably be better to do it somewhere over here, like next to a mountain, like right here. This would probably be the best spot for it, actually. So, yeah, we should do that. We should do that before it kills the planet. There's over 50 nukes that got shot here. And this probably was like a big Jew town, a big Jewish town. I think the Chinese did this. I don't think this was a testing site. I think this was an actual city. I think this is where the mafia hideout was. This was probably the real Sin City. And they're covering it all up. They blew it all up. Because they don't like the Jewish mafia. Anyways, so that's our country. Let's go look for other ones. For example, right here is a giant one. They don't know what this is. They don't know what caused this. They don't know how long it's been here. But this looks like it's a big, giant nuclear bomb site. There could have been a city here. They just blew it right up. Notice how the sand almost looks like it's blown in this direction. For example, I'll show you. From right here, where it is, it goes like this. And guess where it's heading? Straight to Italy. Straight to Italy. This one's heading straight to Italy. This is how you know This is how you know the Muslims did not do this. It's got to be China doing it, or maybe even Russia. So now let's look over at Saudi Arabia, because I noticed right here, it really looks like the radiation is coming all from right here. And then it's heading all the way down here, and then it goes up here. And then it probably goes over towards China. So it's heading towards China. And let's look at what. Alright, so in the desert, on a flat land in the desert, it gets really windy sometimes and the sand blows. So if these were craters from nuclear bombs, we wouldn't know. Now, they look like dried up lakes. Some of them could be dried up lakes. If I was the Saudi prince, I would hire some guys to come here with a nuclear radiation meter and test it to see just how radioactive it is. Especially like on sites like this one, it's really yellow. That's just an unusual color. I don't know if that is normal, if that is not man-made or not. Stuff like that would be really important to find out. Because if this is highly radioactive, they have to dig it up and put it into a hole and pray to Allah that it never comes back to the surface. Because otherwise the whole fucking world might die. We do not want to live on a desert planet. We have these alien-like Chinese bastards destroying everything. They have supercomputer robots walking around. They could do backflips. These things are incredibly scary terrorists. Now, I want to mention how I believe China nuked itself just to kill Uyghurs. But I don't know where the explosion would have been, so I'm going to look for it really fast. For all I know, this could have been it right here. How do you get a bunch of lakes in the desert like this? Think about it. And they're all dried up. It could be... Normally when you see desert, you see stuff like this. Or this. For miles. For miles. So when you see a bunch of crater-like lakes, it should pop your attention up a little bit. You should pop your eyes open a little bit, maybe. If you're Chinese and you have the freedom to come here, notice how there's no roads here. You'll have to be really rich to get here. You'll have to have a nuclear radiation meter. And guess what? If you found out this is all radioactive, really radioactive, you're going to get sick, and the commies might kill you. They might just straight up kill you, because now you watch this video, you know what's going on, the Tiananmen Square massacre, they're killing their own people left and right. They're like literal alien invaders from outer space, and they are viciously evil. They'll nuke themselves just to teach themselves a lesson. And I'm going to end the video on that. I think this video was important because, for all I know, the Saudi prince himself might see this someday. And he could get some guys over here pretty cheap and have them test the sand. Well, test the air. And we'd see it. If it's highly radioactive right here, you know, okay, we could maybe fix this somehow. Because it's coming from the dirt itself. It's inside the dirt. See this white stuff right here? If this was from a nuclear radiation blast, that's all radioactive dust. Radioactive dust can look different colors. So, I'm going to end it there. We need to save the planet before these scumbots just kill us all. These Chinese scumbots.